Thank you, High Representative Vice President Designate. We come to our next speaker for the S&D Group, Sven Mikser.
Commissioner Designate, I would like to come back to defense and security, but move from strategic culture to actual defense capabilities. When it comes to EDA and EDF and PESCO, I believe that on one hand, the goal of all those noble initiatives is to better focus our collective efforts and to boost our global competitiveness in the area of military industries and related R&D. But on the other hand, and perhaps more broadly, the goal is to make sure that we have at our disposal all the necessary capabilities to meet our international obligations and the ambitions set out in our global agenda. And therefore, my question to you would be, where do you see the greatest remaining capability shortfalls, and how do you intend to work both on the union level but also with the governments at the intergovernmental level in order to address those capability shortfalls?
Mr. Borrell, 2 minutes.
I'm trying to answer this difficult question in 2 minutes. Very concrete. First, we have agreed on a capability development plan which identifies 11 defense priorities. These include, be aware of that, cyber responsive operations, air-to-air refueling, or ballistic missile defense. Remember that when we went on airstrikes to Libya, we didn't have the refueling capacity for our planes, and we had to have the help of the Americans. Third, these capabilities, we need them for our CSDP operational engagement. And we have to take into account also the compatibility and complementarity with the NATO priorities. Give me an example. The US has only one type of battle tank. We have 17 different types of battle tanks. The lack of cooperation between member states in the field of security and defense cost us about 30,000 million euros a year. We need to develop PESCO and the European Defence Fund. It's much more cheaper to spend on create cooperative capacities than to have many different capacities which are incompatible among them and too expensive to match. We have to match our ambitions with the resources, and the multi-annual financial framework is there. You will have to decide together with the Council. And also we have to pay attention to the civil management, which are for me as equally important as military missions. And for that we need another different kind of capacities. Policemen, judges, public prosecutors, and other experts.
Thank you. Follow-up question, Sven Mikser.
Thank you very much. I very much agree that cooperation is the key word here, but we have seen also in the past instances when we have managed to cooperate very impressively in order to build a certain capability, only to see it remain idle or underutilized. Well, I believe battle groups are a case in point. And, I do believe that battle groups have a value in the sort of transformational exercise that they have been. But given the constraints, financial and political, that we've seen, how do you see the ways to address those constraints so that we would be able to use the capabilities that we collectively build also purposefully? Thank you.
Mr. Borrell.
Yes, the famous battle group that we have never used, no? And nevertheless, they remain the primary tool for our military rapid response. And they are the only military forces on standby by the European Union in order to be able to deploy them in a short notice. So I think that we have to increase the common funding, which is currently under discussion in the context of the European Peace Facility that my predecessor, Mrs. Mogherini, has proposed to you in order to provide an incentive for future deployments. Because when the moment came to mobilize these battle groups, It was impossible, remember, it was the case of the Central Republic and Mali, that for different reasons, I don't want to criticize anyone, but for different reasons, the battle groups could not be mobilized. Well, if this battle group exists, we have to provide common funding, because they are the common tools of the European military capacity to be deployed.